everyone, or good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today for our Discover webinar featuring our business program. It's going to be a very fun session for us today. Now, before we get started with the good stuff, I would like to speak to a few housekeeping, if that's okay with everyone. First, although you may not have access to audio or video tonight, that doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. So please, if you have questions, we have the ever-talented Erin behind the scenes tonight, who is going to be taking over questions and answers. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll find a Q&A function. We also have the chat function, which works just as well, but we do prefer Q&A as it's a bit easier to organize for us. So please don't hesitate to comment or any questions at all. We would love to hear from you. I would also like everyone to be mindful that we are still working from home. And although we've done everything we can to eliminate any noises or distractions, that may not stop the dogs next door from barking or that transport truck from rolling down the street. So please have some patience and understanding with us while we work through some of these unavoidable things. And I would also like to let everyone know this session is being recorded. Well, my name is Rebecca. I am a recruitment advisor for Lakehead University. Although I am out of the Aurelia campus, I like to think I have some knowledge in both campuses and a wide variety of programs. So please, again, if you have any questions, let us know.
Hey everybody, my name is Aaron. I'm a recruitment officer also at Lakehead Aurelia, but I also recruit for both campuses and I work in our undergraduate admissions and recruitment office. So feel free to drop those questions in the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen. As Rebecca mentioned, I'll be kind of working in the background and answering questions, and we want to keep this as interactive as possible. So lots of content to cover. Kathy's the expert. She'll be covering lots of info around the business programs. But if you do have questions, feel free to use that Q&A. And we'll do a formal Q&A live at the end of the session as well. But welcome, and I'll pass it over to Kathy to do an intro for herself as well.
Hello, welcome. So glad to have people here with us tonight to learn about our programs at the Faculty of Business. As Erin mentioned, my name is Kathy. I'm an assistant professor of human resources and organizational behavior at the Thunder Bay campus, and I teach in both the undergrad and the master's programs. So I am very much looking forward to answering all your questions tonight and letting you know about all the great things that we have to offer at the Faculty of Business.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kathy. Before we get started in the magical world of business, just quickly touch on why Lakehead. Well, we are one of Canada's top 10 universities, according to Maclean's magazine. We are also #2 in undergraduate research in Canada, which I think gives us the unique opportunity to say that we really do focus on hands-on learning, and it is very important to us here at Lakehead for you to get as much experiential learning as possible. We also have 90% of our classes with fewer than 60 students. In Thunder Bay, currently our ratio of student to faculty is 15:1, and in Aurelia, our student to faculty ratio is currently 13:1. We have over $11 million in scholarships and bursaries to give away annually, which makes us #1 in Ontario for scholarships, awards, and bursaries. We have over 65 programs spanning through 10 faculties, so there really is something for everyone. And in all of our faculties, we have a 97.7% employment rate after 2 years of graduation. In fact, in some faculties, we have a 100% employment rate. And we can go into more detail outside of this webinar, but we would love to teach you a little bit more about that if you have any interest in spending some more time with us after school or in the evenings on different webinars that I will speak to later on tonight. Now, without further ado, I will pass it over to the expert and we'll learn a little bit about the business programs.
Great, thanks, Rebecca. All right, so tonight I'm going to be talking about the Bachelor of Business Administration and the Honors Bachelor of Commerce programs that we offer. We'll talk about the different options that are available both at the Thunder Bay campus and the Aurelia campus. I can see our 100% employment rate post-graduation here posted up on the screen. That's certainly something that we are very proud of, as we are our accreditation. And you'll see in the bottom corner that we are AACSB accredited. Approximately 5% of all business schools in the world carry that accreditation. I think we have had ours now for about 6 years. It was very difficult to obtain it, and we are, of course, extremely proud of it. When you have an accreditation like that, that is so exclusive, it really communicates something about your degree and about the quality of the education that you've received as a result of attending a program such as ours. And the AACSB accreditation, of course, is recognized worldwide. So this is always a big question that we have. What exactly do business graduates need in order to be successful gaining employment, which is what most of our students choose to do? Of course, we have students who go on for further education, and we also have students who decide to work for themselves or start their own business. But what we know through working with our partners and from conducting research in this area is that business graduates need a really strong combination of, I'm going to say, 3 things. The first would be foundational knowledge about business, business theories, business practices, legislation, rules, regulations within Ontario and Canada for each profession. So you need to have those technical skills and that, I'll call it textbook knowledge. The second thing that you need to have are soft skills, the ability to work with other people, to work in teams, to speak in public, to solve problems and think in a critical manner. And the third thing that I think that we're hearing consistently now is that you need some experience. And that's what Rebecca was referring to when she talked about experiential learning. So experiential learning, I'm going to get into it in more detail later. But for those who aren't aware, basically it's hands-on learning where you get to do different types of practices so that when you graduate from our program, it isn't just that you have completed all of the courses, but you have also got to work on consulting projects. You have also got to run simulations. You have got to test or have the ability to test your new knowledge in a real life situation. And so I think those are the 3 areas that our business program focuses on to make sure that when you do graduate, that you're ready to be a competitive employee in today's business environment. And here's a list of some of the things that we know are really important right now in business. So of course, technical knowledge and skills are essential. They've always been essential in business. But we also know that there's a greater focus now on the care that business needs to be providing for not only the environment, if we're thinking about things like global warming, but also about the environments that we're working in. So how we are treating the people who we work with, whether or not we are being good corporate citizens. And I think that we've seen that highlighted now more than ever in the pandemic, where we've heard about a real focus on buying local and supporting Canadian. And we know that within that environment that we have to make sure that our behaviors are also aligning with what it is we say our business is going to do. And I'm sure that people have heard about some of the scandals that happened during the pandemic within businesses where employees weren't being treated appropriately. And I think we saw a real movement towards making sure that people are being treated appropriately. So whether that would be looking at supply chain issues and how employees at huge employers like Amazon are being treated, or whether it was the current Stop Asian Hate or Black Lives Matter movement. So we are seeing that the business environment is always changing. And so we know that we need people who are innovative, who can think on their feet, who've got good decision-making and problem-solving skills. We also know, of course, that it is business that provides the employment within our communities, and therefore it is the main economic driver. So we want to make sure that when we're looking at that current environment, generally we are focusing on Ontario, but overall that we're going to be able to be making positive contributions within the Canadian business context. Oh, I already mentioned this about AACSB. Sorry, sometimes I forget what order the slides are in. Okay, so if you take a business degree, what kinds of career options are there? I remember when I first started my business degree, I also have, I have both an undergrad and a master's in business from Lakehead University. And my area, of course, is human resources and organizational behavior. But I remember when I first started thinking about business that I really didn't know what kinds of options there were. And as you're going to hear, we have so many different majors. There's all kinds of different careers. I think everyone knows about things like accounting or human resources or being a financial planner or maybe being a manager. And of course, those are some of the reasons why people come to our business program, right? Our accounting graduates have jobs usually before their fourth year, some of them between their second and third year. I know for human resources that our graduates are usually working in their field by September after they've graduated in May. But there's lots of other jobs that sometimes people don't think about being associated with business. And here you can see there's a number of different technical types of jobs. So information systems, system administrator, or perhaps a database administrator. We certainly know that that combination of technology and marketing is really popular right now. So you'll see on the list the social media strategist or marketing analyst. Lots of jobs related to money. I think that's another area that's always going to be in high demand. So we can see besides accountants and financial planners, we also have auditors and chief financial officers, financial analysts. From my area of human resources, we've got the health and safety coordinator, labor relations specialist, and some of these areas we know are facing shortfalls right now. And that there's a very high demand within Ontario and within Canada for all of these types of jobs. And of course, this is just a sample to give you an idea of some of the areas that our graduates are currently working in. Okay, so now we're going to get into the details. So we'll start with the undergraduate programs that are available at the Thunder Bay campus. So we have two different degrees that we offer. The first one is a Bachelor of Administration. It's a 3-year degree. It's considered to be a generalist degree in that you don't pick your major. So you don't specialize in any particular area, which is why it's called a generalist degree. The second one is the Honor Bachelor of Commerce, which is a 4-year degree. And in that program, we have a huge number of choices, especially at the Thunder Bay campus. So some of these I know I've already mentioned, but we have accounting, human resources, marketing, finance, management information systems, international business, general management, and business economics. And you'll see that the majors that have a little star beside them, there's also a co-op option available for those. And I think, I don't know, I always say like, this is the best thing about the program. And then I say like, there's 6 best things about the program. But here's one of the very best things about our program. is that the first 2 years of our program are general to everyone and common to everyone. So I'm going to shortly go through what some of the courses are. But for your first 2 years, you get exposure to all of the areas of business. So you're going to take a human resources class with me. You're going to take a first-year accounting course. You're going to learn about the history of management. Of course, you're going to take something in statistics and economics and marketing and operations and supply chain management and data analytics. And after the end of that second year is when you're going to make your decision. Do you want to do the 3-year Bachelor of Administration degree, or would you like to do the Honors Bachelor of Commerce, the 4-year degree? Now, it's important to know that in order to continue in the Bachelor of Administration, you have to maintain a 60% average. To continue in the Honors Bachelor of Commerce, you need a 70% average. But that's such, I think, a wonderful advantage that when you come in and you're thinking, do I want accounting or finance? That's often a question people are trying to ask themselves. You don't have to decide, right? If you're thinking, oh, I think I'd like to do a general management degree. And then as you go through your courses, all of a sudden you find out, wait a minute, I love marketing. I think I'm going to take that as my major. So I think that that's a huge advantage, that you'll be deciding on a business degree, but you don't have to decide exactly which stream or which area you want to specialize in until you've had a few courses in that area, and then you can really make an informed choice. And so here is the overview for the Aurelia campus. And you'll see that the structure is very similar. And so it's a 3-year Bachelor of Administration degree, which is a generalist degree, so no majors in the Bachelor of Administration. And the 4-year Honors Bachelor of Commerce at Aurelia offers 2 majors, Business Administration and Global Entrepreneurship. And I believe that it's Global Entrepreneurship that has the co-op option. And it's exactly the same structure. You decide at the end of your second year. The other thing I should mention is that you also, at the end of your second year, or at any time really, but for sure at the end of your second year, you could transfer in between our campuses. So perhaps you attended the first couple of years at Aurelia, but then you started to think, oh, I really do want to do a finance degree. You can transfer up to Thunder Bay for your last 2 years and complete your finance degree. Or perhaps you're in Thunder Bay and you start to think, no, global entrepreneurship is for me. Then you can transfer down to Aurelia. So we've got the flexibility between those programs because we use the same structure for the first 2 years. So what kinds of courses will you be taking when you first start? Now, of course, the first year is more of a general year. We're going to start to get you versed in things like core business skills. So you'll take business writing and business computing. You're going to learn about economics and management. And this year we also have financial accounting and our quantitative analysis, which is like statistics in our first year. You also have an open elective. Now, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, seems a little bit math heavy in that first year, don't worry. We also have a prep course. If math hasn't been your thing, we have a prep course to help you to get ready to take these other courses. And then in our second year, you get to really get a taste of each of the majors. So you'll see here that you'll be taking marketing and operations and organizational behavior and business presentations and finance. There's actually a new human resources course that's been moved into our second year. And so at the end of the second year, you're really going to have a good understanding of all of the areas of business so that you can make that selection. And you'll see on this slide, we're also highlighting again that if you want to move into the HBCom, you need a 70 and the B-admin requirement is a 60. Okay, so what are the admission requirements? So for the Honors Bachelor of Commerce, and this applies for both of our campuses, you do have to have an English and you have to have one math. And in terms of math, that could be advanced functions, calculus and vectors, or data management. And again, if you don't have that grade 12 university level math, there is a course that you can take as your first year elective. And then some people who didn't feel really strong in math also choose to take that course. We generally recommend that you have a 70% average within those grade 12 courses to apply to get into our business program. So what is co-op? This is probably the question that I get asked the most when I go to the Ontario Universities Fair. So co-op gives you an opportunity to have paid work experience in the area that you want to be eventually working in. I'll give an example of the last student that I had who did a co-op in human resources. And so she knew that she wanted to work in a private sector business. And so by private sector, I mean not the government or not a government funded nonprofit. She wanted to work for a profit organization. And so between her third and fourth year, and also between her second and third year, she did her co-op placements. Now, one of those co-op placements she did here in Thunder Bay, and another one she did in Southern Ontario. And so she was able to get that work experience while being paid during the summer. Now, I've also had a student who took the full 12-month option, which means that between third and fourth year, she did an entire year of co-op and then came back and finished her last year. In her case, her co-op was here in Thunder Bay and she attends in Thunder Bay. And of course, that organization kept her on and she's still working there. And so we can see that co-op not only gives you that hands-on work experience, of course, you get paid for it, which is really important. We know that there's lots of financial pressures as a student, but you also get that local connection, you get into that network, you get to know people, and you get another reference to add to your resume. So it's a very popular option. It's like our slide isn't cooperating. But while we're waiting for that, I'll also mention that your co-op, the fact that you did a co-op also appears on your degree. So it's very clear to employers that you have completed a co-op.
Maybe just while we're waiting, Kathy, are there certain employers that you find that a lot of our students end up doing co-op at, maybe locally in Thunder Bay or anything like that?
We've had a variety. I think that some of the larger employers tend to be quite popular. So places like a bank or a hospital, those tend to be popular placements locally. Of course, it's great that you can do your placement or your co-op placement anywhere you like, right? Anywhere. Well, for sure you can do it anywhere in Canada. My understanding was that there's also the possibility to do co-op in other countries. Now, I'm not super well versed on that, but I understand that that is an option as well if you had a work experience you wanted to have somewhere else. I haven't had a student take that route yet, but I'm sure that the ability to be flexible is something that I think we're known for. So if a person was able to do a placement or co-op somewhere else, as long as we can work with the employer, then I think we're good for that. Now, this is such an exciting program that we have, the RBC Work Integrated Learning Program. So this is a targeted work placement that's sponsored by RBC. Now, we've had this program, I think, for about 5 years. And the goal of this is to get the students into workplaces, to help them to develop those important soft skills, but also so that they can get exposure to that environment, the work environment. Now, we've had so many students who have done a work integrated learning placement. So because of the structure of our program, a lot of times people do their work integrated learning on Fridays. And so they would go in and they would work for the whole day at an employer, they get paid, and then they get experience within their area. And I would be hard pressed to think of an employer in Thunder Bay that hasn't had one of our students. Because I'm most familiar with where the human resource students are placed, I know that they have been at in areas such as the hospital, children's counseling agencies, children's aid, and some of the other smaller local businesses as well. So we've had placements at the Sleeping Giant Brewery. We've had placements at places like Roots to Harvest. So there's so many fantastic options for the work integrated learning. We really encourage all of our students to do that. And it's a great way to get that work experience. But the other thing that goes along with the work integrated learning program is a series of workshops. And so those workshops are usually held once a month, and they are targeted to helping business skills or business students, to develop some of those soft skills. So as an example, last year there was a training session on building your own brand and how you might want to represent yourself on social media. The session that I do is on delivering difficult messages. So what happens when you have to give somebody bad news? That's my area. And so the program really is quite comprehensive. It usually runs for the full school year. Students take this usually in their third or fourth year. And again, it's a great way to get out into the community, to meet people, to network. Yeah, it's a wonderful addition to our program. We're so lucky to work in partnership with RBC and to have been selected initially to be the pilot of this program. And my understanding is that because it was so successful with Lakehead University, that it's actually been expanded to other universities across Canada. Now, what is experiential learning? What happens within our classes so that you can also get other hands-on opportunities so that you can be applying your skills? So there's a number of different ways that we approach this. These are just a few examples. So one is using case analysis, and that's where you are presented with a business problem and you need to solve that using the skills that you have. So I would say that probably 50 to 60% of our courses use case analysis to some degree. I know within my courses, I use case analysis all the time. And I don't do a huge case. I do small cases every week where we look at, for example, this term I'm teaching human resources management. So we are looking at some of the issues that are coming up in business related to human resources, so that the students get to practice their knowledge. So the section that we just finished in my class is related to recruitment and selection. And so in order to apply our knowledge, we are looking at what is happening within the current environment in Ontario in those areas, and what do we think should be happening. So we'll find a story in the news, and then we will say, what do you think would happen in this situation? What would you be recommending? If you were the manager in this situation, how would you be handling this problem? And so that's a tiny little case analysis. We usually do that for about half an hour every week in one of my classes, but you also do a more in-depth case analysis where you really get to learn about a business and see how would we apply what we've learned. So as an example, last year when I was teaching managing organizational change, we were looking at the businesses that exist in Thunder Bay directly across the street from Intercity Shopping Center. And so we were examining what kinds of issues are they having in regards to staffing, coping with COVID, trying to shift their business model from being an in-person shopping to a curbside delivery. And so we got to apply all kinds of different areas of business to that case study. The other thing that we have are some in-class consulting projects. I'll speak to the one related to human resources planning because that also is my class. And over the last few years, we've been working with Resolute Forest Products and examining some of the issues related to their 3 divisions within Ontario and how they can make sure that they have enough staff. Because as people are probably hearing, especially following the pandemic, but even for the 5 years leading up to the pandemic, we don't actually have enough of all types of employees in Northwestern Ontario. And so my class was working on how would you recruit people to come and work at the Atikokan sawmill? How would you approach that problem? What have you learned in your other courses that you could make as a recommendation to the business? And then we will, of course, meet with the managers of that organization, and we will be asking them questions about the reality of their workplace. And then we'll be reporting back to them and presenting to those managers our ideas. And it's been so exciting working with Resolute Forest Products. And we've actually seen some of our students' ideas implemented within their organization. And then all of our students participate in what we call a Capstone project. So this is a year-long project, and the slide here says integrates learning from across your whole degree, which means that the groups are usually comprised of someone from human resources, marketing, accounting, finance, and the problem that you have to work on is going to include all of those areas as well. This year, and for the last couple of years, we've been working with the City of Thunder Bay. And as you know, the City of Thunder Bay is responsible for so many different services really that we all depend upon. So they're responsible for roads and parking and recreation and parks, some daycares, some seniors services, leisure services. And so our students break into groups and they work on a consulting project for the city for the entire year. And it's the exact same format as the consulting project. So you are interacting and collecting information from the managers at the city, and then you're also presenting your recommendations to them. So those are some examples of experiential learning. There's a whole ton of others as well. I know one of our marketing classes runs simulations, and each area has their own kind of special way of making sure that you get some hands-on learning in each of the discipline areas, so that when you leave with your degree from Lakehead University, you're confident in using those skills in the workplace. And what about outside of class? What kinds of things can you participate in? So we have 2 student groups, one in Aurelia that's called BOSS, the one in Thunder Bay is called FOBSA, and they help us as faculty to coordinate all of these other business activities that help you to grow your skills. We have lots of case competitions that we participate in. I actually have 3 teams right now participating in the intercollegiate business competition in policy, finance, and digital strategy. So you get to work on a case study and compete against other universities in Canada. Our Enactus program is a chance to apply your skills in a way that benefits our community. And so some of those projects have included, for example, running a financial literacy course for people who perhaps don't know anything about budgeting or saving or some of the options that would be available in terms of making a financial plan or a personal budget. And so these are other ways that you can have practice and application of your business skills outside of the classroom. And these are all generally run by students for students. All right, so that's the end of my formal presentation. I am glad to answer any questions at all that you might have about our business programs.
Okay, so thanks, Kathy. Sorry, we're just having some technical issues in the background there. Rebecca's unable to join us. We can see her, but she can't talk or get off. So I've been kind of working in the background here, and we haven't had any recent questions kind of come through, but just as people are kind of waiting here, if we have any questions, feel free to drop those in the Q&A, and I'd be happy to answer those here as well as Kathy. So feel free to drop those in the Q&A, and we'll just continue on here and maybe come back to questions. So just in terms of kind of next steps, some things to keep in mind. We do have some important dates coming up. Really the big one for high school applicants would be January 13th, which is the application deadline for all Ontario high school students. So just kind of keep that in mind. There are some additional deadlines related to scholarships, awards, and bursaries and residence, but you'll receive information about that in the coming months after you've applied. So just kind of keep the 13th in mind, and as long as you apply by Christmas time, that gives you a little bit of wiggle room between then and the application deadline to make any program changes. We encourage you to book a campus tour. So our current in-person campus tour program is on hold, but we are looking to return to in-person tours pretty shortly here. So keep an eye on our Lakehead website for details around the campus tour program. And we have a really good virtual tour program available on the website. So you can do a self-guided virtual campus tour through both Thunder Bay and Orillia and kind of get a feel for things and see if it's going to be the right fit for you. And we also have some live guided virtual campus tours where our campus tour guides will log on to Zoom with you, and they'll actually run you through our virtual campus tour and talk about their Lakehead experience. So that's another great opportunity as well. We also have our Lakehead virtual open house coming up on December the 8th. We just had our first one a couple weeks ago, not too long ago. We're having a second virtual open house in just over a month from now. So keep an eye on the Lakehead website for some details and registration information around our virtual open house, but we'd love to have you there. I believe Kathy will be there, but some of our representatives from the Faculty of Business Administration will be joining us, along with all of our other faculty members. We'll have current students on board as well, some information sessions and presentations happening. And it's a really immersive day to get information around all things Lakehead. So if you want a little bit more detail in about a month, we'd love to see you at our upcoming virtual open house event. We do have some additional webinars that we run weekly. So every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, some of these webinars are around faculties, like our Faculty of Business Administration as an example. But we do have some general information sessions, some sessions about residents and financial aid coming up as well. So if you'd like more info, definitely keep an eye on our upcoming events page. And we'd love to see you out at some of our upcoming webinars as well. One of the last options is booking a virtual appointment. So I know I've spoken to, I think, a few of you that have joined us here tonight already, which is great. But if you do have more questions after this evening, it's always great to speak directly with our faculty members, and I'd be happy to get you in touch with our faculty if you do have questions around the program or courses. But if you'd like some general information about Lakehead, admissions, feel free to book an appointment with a recruitment officer on our website, and we've got the link included there as well. We'd be happy to chat with you after this evening. Just lastly, follow us on social media. It's a great way to stay connected on kind of what's coming up, including our virtual open house. It's a great way to stay connected with the Lakehead student experience as well. We've got lots of videos that we're in the works, and we'll be posting on our YouTube channel, including this webinar for those of you that can't miss us, or can't make it, sorry. So it's a great way to stay connected if you're looking to get more information around Lakehead University. So a lot of great information there in a bit of a short amount of time. It's always, I always feel like we're rushing through these, Kathy, when we go through, but we've been almost 45 minutes, which is perfect. So I appreciate everybody's time in terms of joining us here during a busy evening. I don't see any questions specifically in the Q&A, but I'll leave it open here for just another couple of minutes, just in case. Any kind of last minute, comments or anything, Kathy, just around your programs and anything you'd like to tell the students about?
The first thing I'll mention is that I was at the last virtual open house, and I was at the ones last year as well. And I think it's a great opportunity to get to go and visit. I mean, it's virtually, but you get to go and visit all of the faculties and all of the support services that are available, and you can have individual chats or video sessions with staff and faculty. So I think it is a great way to get to go and see, business and visit engineering and visit social sciences, all from the comfort of your home in about an hour and a half. So I really encourage people to come out to that. And yeah, we are more than glad to answer any questions you have about the Faculty of Business. We consider ourselves to be very student focused, and we would be glad to answer any questions that you have about your personal situation, what your career goals might be. We would be happy to consult with you on what might be the best path for you when you join the Faculty of Business Administration. So yeah, please don't hesitate to reach out. That's what we're here for.
That's perfect. Thanks, Kathy. That's a perfect ending to the session, I think, is just kind of focusing on the student experience and just kind of the personal aspect to the Lakehead experience as well. That's something I always talk to students about when they're interested in the business program. Business is obviously a popular degree at any Ontario university, but the benefit of the Lakehead experience is the smaller classroom environment, right? You're not just a number when you're within the program, still a small faculty, so you really get access to yourself and Dr. Richards and all the other great profs that we have within the faculty. So if you need help or you need some guidance on careers to get into or courses to take, everyone's there to support. So that's great. Well, I'm just looking at the Q&A, and I don't see any here, so you must have done a great job presenting, Kathy. I think we're okay for this evening, but I know we'll have more questions after tonight, so I'll forward some students on to you if they do have questions. So I guess we'll leave it there, everybody. We appreciate your time. Thanks again for joining us for tonight's Discover Lakehead Business webinar. We'll hope to see some of you in the near future, and hopefully we'll stay connected, but stay safe and have a great evening.